The year is 2010, and the vendetta between internet forums is at an all-time high. Tumblr is caught stealing memes and claiming them as their own, which absolutely enrages the users on 4chan. Whether or not Tumblr realizes it, they have just committed the unholiest of internet sins, and with it, they sparked the biggest declaration of war these boards have ever seen. From Tumblr users getting triggered, to massive cyber attacks, to 4chan spamming pictures of the most heinous things in the internet, to even an unlikely romance. This is quite literally one of the biggest battles the internet has ever seen. This is the legendary story of 4chan vs Tumblr. In 2007, one of 4chan's most ancient memes was born, depicting an old man having a heart attack and saying the legendary Of course, this meme became widely popular and was eventually used all over the internet, much like many other of 4chan's creations. However, Tumblr was watching from the shadows, and they began to grow jealous of 4chan's impact around the world. So one user proposed a daring plan to forge a meme by stealing 4chan's sacred and reshaping it into something Tumblr could call its own. This new meme was thought to be absolutely brilliant by users on Tumblr, and they believed it would change internet culture forever. Okay, here it is. They came up with the term, "What is air?" referring to someone laughing so hard that they just forget to breathe. Users on Tumblr were obsessed, later using it on other forums as an inside joke. The term spread worse than the plague when Tumblr raids Omegle, where they flood the chat rooms with the meme. One user would say "What is air?" and both callers would quickly send a link to Tumblr, showing each other that they are familiar with the joke. Of course, many users going on Omegle were confused, and most of those who caught on didn't think it was funny at all, but Tumblr absolutely loved it. At this point in time, no one can escape Tumblr's trolling, and it seems like the term "What is air?" is getting spammed everywhere. But that's not all. In a blatant attempt to rewrite history, the meme is added to the Urban Dictionary, with the entry implying that the term actually belongs to Tumblr. The "What is air" meme therefore officially became a power grab to become h's new replacement. All of this got 4chan beyond furious. Not only was their term, but Tumblr's new meme wasn't even funny. On top of that, 4chan was the one who conducted raids, not Tumblr. So on November 4th, 2010, 4chan makes a post declaring Operation Overlord, a nod to the Battle of Normandy Beach in World War II. The plan is simple. Following its namesake, 4chan would quietly prepare to rush the beaches of Tumblr, making new accounts and mass following as many users as possible. If they are lucky, many of the Tumblr users would follow them back, meaning that they would be able to see whatever these 4chan users post. Meanwhile, similar to the Airborne Division dropping behind enemy lines, 4chan Special Forces would hack into some of Tumblr's biggest accounts, slowly but surely taking over the site. This would repeat for the next few days, all while the hackers stockpiled some of the most heinous things they could find on the internet, excitedly waiting for the perfect moment to launch their attack. Then it happened. 4chan spams Tumblr with the worst things that the chronically online mind could ever conceive of. It's inescapable. For every real post, 10 more disturbing pictures take its place. Tumblr users from around the world are traumatized, with many of the images ingrained in their memory. The chaos continues until, on the 4th day, 4chan contemplates pressing the big red button. November 14th, an anonymous user posts their plans for the last phase that is finally coming to fruition. The time comes for the killing blow against Tumblr to take the site completely offline. After this post goes live, there isn't much time for the Tumblr security team to prepare. 5 p.m. comes quickly, and 4chan users from across the globe combine their efforts in a massive DDoS attack, which comes crashing down on Tumblr like a tsunami. The site eventually goes down. However, even though the main page is unreachable, most of the individual blogs survive. It's clear that though Tumblr remains strong, they need to get 4chan back. Thus, Operation Overlord is born. They begin spamming cute pictures of cats and the phrase "What is air?" all over 4chan. But this just brings more chaos. 4chan users get mass banned on Tumblr and vice versa. Soon, the 4chan mods get involved. They temporarily take away the ability to make threads. But as the doors close on Operation Overlord, things take a weirdly seductive turn. Users on both 4chan and Tumblr realize that they have more in common with one another than they had previously thought. This romantic tension rose until one Tumblr user finally proposes a most steamy idea. Instead of fighting each other, why don't they just make love? This single comment sparks one of the most bizarre fanfics ever written, and truly one of the strangest things in the internet. This power couple would come to be known as 4Tumblr.
Disambiguation. Air is part of the Earth's atmosphere that humans breathe. It's made up of 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% other. Songs. AIR. A song by anthrax from spreading the disease. Air.
Many users on 4chan are surprisingly on board, and in the following weeks, countless threads are created, depicting artwork, comics, cartoon versions of the sites interacting with each other, and even some stuff that we can't show in this video. Many threads soon transform into a place where both Tumblr and 4chan users can intermingle, and boy was 4chan rewarded. 4chan even creates info threads so that Tumblr could learn their lingo. Meetups are organized, and some 4chan users apparently get lucky. Another Anon actually proposes to one of the Tumblr users, and to everyone's shock, she says yes. The war has slowly evolved into a massive love story, with both 4chan and Tumblr agreeing that it is better this way. And just like that, everyone walks into the sunset together as one. They have found their Cloud 9, their Nirvana, and nothing but peace and love remain. But our story isn't over just quite yet. After all, love doesn't always last forever. Many years pass, and Operation Overlord fades into internet folklore. Though the Great War has long since been over, one user on 4chan reminisces about the past. It is Independence Day in the US of A, and while most Americans are out lighting fireworks, he figures this is the perfect opportunity to relive the good old days. So he hatches a plan. He infiltrates Tumblr, posing as one of their own, and creates a thread declaring war on 4chan. In his post, he claims that 4chan is filled with the most racist, misogynistic, and pure evil people on the planet. He begins the movement #ShutDown4chan and attempts to get Tumblr on board. He believes this post is brilliant, and it quickly picks up steam. However, many users on Tumblr see right through him and realize that this thread is nothing but low-quality bait. Even still, the snowball keeps rolling, as more passionate Tumblr users feel the responsibility to cleanse the internet of 4chan. The mission is crystal clear: make enough noise to shut down 4chan for good, and put an end to their chaos once and for all. Tumblr users fire the first shots and begin making their own posts on 4chan. The onslaught of threads keep coming, but the 4chan moderators are at the ready, swiftly banning any Tumblr post coming in. Then, a thread appeared from none other than Anonymous, claiming that they had turned on 4chan and were now helping Tumblr take them down. But the ruse didn't last long. 4chan immediately recognized it as a fake, and in the end, it was just a Tumblr user trying to give them a scare. Tumblr fired back with a petition demanding that 4chan users be held accountable for their internet crimes. But 4chan could only laugh. Everyone knew petitions went nowhere, so much so that countless Anons signed it themselves just for the joke. If that wasn't enough, 4chan doubled down and launched their own counter petition, labeling Tumblr users as disabled land whales, and it racked up 10 times the signatures in half the time. At this point, users on Tumblr began to realize their mistake, but it is already too late. What followed was the digital equivalent of napalm. Tumblr feeds flooded with some of the most shocking, revolting content the internet could produce. Scrolling Tumblr instantly evolved into a horror show. So in an attempt to block 4chan, Tumblr quickly makes a list of targeted tags. But of course, it doesn't help much. Some even post videos of their struggles.
What's happening is, they decided to start posting and triggering things in the tags to trigger people and make them freak out. They think it's absolutely hilarious. It's actually really messed up.
Even facing defeat, Tumblr didn't want to go down without a fight, so they came up with an outlandish idea. In order to drown out the carnage and fend off the 4chan invaders, they would spam the tags with their own selfies, so that anyone visiting the site would be greeted with pictures of their fellow Tumblr comrades. But 4chan loved this. They adapted instantly, taking those very selfies, distorting them into X-rated memes, and hurling them back into the trenches. Other Tumblr users tried to counter with waves of cute pictures, but at this point, 4chan had already done too much damage. So in a last-ditch effort to fight back, Tumblr users began posting instructions on how to fight 4chan directly. It was easy. All they had to do was open up 4chan in their browser, type commands in a notepad, including something about deleting System32, then save the file to their computer. Once they did that, they should be able to see the location of all the posters on 4chan, which they could then report to the FBI. But of course, the accounts spamming these instructions were just undercover 4chan users. And by the time the tech-savvy Tumblr users could warn everyone, it was already too late. Many users on Tumblr had already deleted System32, making their computers completely unusable. However, Tumblr refused to give up, and some users drafted public block lists of known 4chan raiders, hoping that they could scare them off. But by doing this, they revealed their email addresses. Quickly, their inboxes were firebombed with horrors, and they were even signed up for every spam email known to mankind. Attempts to warn others backfired just as terribly. One girl uploaded a video begging people to stay away from 4chan. Within hours, it was deleted. Her home was besieged with prank delivery pizzas, junk mail, and frightening calls. At this point, it was clear that 4chan had won, but the end results were devastating. There were cries of trauma, PTSD, and emotional devastation. Many of the users were forced to take a long break from Tumblr until the chaos dies down. 4chan celebrates its clear victory, and the sole user who started the war realized he got a show of a lifetime, all from the comfort of his own home.